What's up, guys? Well, today figured I would wrench on the Model A little bit. Just got back yesterday from, or day before yet. Anyways, just got back from Vintage Torque Fest and saw a lot of Model A's. Stole a lot of really cool ideas. But one of the coolest things there was watching the banger race. And I've got some footage here I'll show you. I mean, how cool is that, watching these old Model A's racing each other with their stock, well, they've been hopped up. Some of them were 4-banger motors. And, you know, got me kind of itching to get home and go to work on this Model A. Been thinking about, since building a hot rod with the Y block, I'm not too sure I want to use this frame. This is the original 31 frame and it's pitted pretty deep. It'd just be with a Y, you know, I could fully box it, but even still, it's pretty deeply pitted. I just don't know about putting a Y block on that and with all the other stuff in the body. And I'd just rather do 32 rails probably, have that extra, usually 2 inches, to make a proper hot rod using this body. But what I'll be left with is this frame, these manual brakes, this motor and transmission, and the differential I know works. Now, while I was at Vintage Torque Fest, I went over to the swap meet area and found something pretty cool. This is an adapter for a Y block. Essentially all it does is it converts my Y block into a flathead as far as transmissions are concerned. So that's really cool. I get to, you know, gives me the option to run some of those cool transmissions that a lot of the period transmissions, because I'm of the opinion that this Model A project needs 3 pedals, and being able to use like a top load or a cool old school period correct transmission would be great. This does it for me. And actually, I walked right by this. My wife pointed it out. So props to the wife on that one. So that was a score. Also, recently I just got in the mail from a viewer, Tim. Tim, he's the guy that sold me the Tri-Power, but it's a fuel manifold, definitely period, fuel manifold to run that Tri-Power, that amazing Tri-Power that I'm so excited to get mounted on the Y block. There's also a couple of other little things like a club plaque. It was, you know, no club lone wolf, definitely period. Actually, I'll go grab it. There it is right there. Will it focus? Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's definitely looks to be period, and it's aluminum. So that's pretty cool. And then a couple of patches, old school patches, stuff like that. Definitely cool swap meet there at Vintage Torque Fest. Is this motor locked up? And that's what we're going to find out today. If this motor's locked up, maybe do some more stuff, work around, and just, you know, kind of check things out. The transmission does go into some gears, but it's, I don't know, it might, I mean, it's 90 years old. The guy that I bought it from, he had no idea when the last time this thing was running was. So that, you know, let's get in there. Let's kind of assess some things and figure it out, because it would be really neat to, when I remove this body, get this thing going, and then maybe build some kind of like speedster body, something like that, like the old dirt track racer T's and A's. Those things are really cool, and they're really coming back with the popularity of the Race of Gentlemen and the races at Torque Fest and stuff. It looks like it's catching on. There's a lot of these out there, people that took the bodies off and just sold the frame and the original banger motor. You know, they're out there. You still see them on Craigslist. People that took the body off and they have all this left over, and it'd be cool to make a period pre-war dirt track racer out of it. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. So with that being said, let's jump in and see what we can find out. One encouraging thing is that this old Zenith carburetor, sounds like that butterfly is working. You know, linkage is free, so that's nice. Also the choke, I can actually, yeah, that one's working. So that's nice. And that idle or air adjustment screw turns. So this isn't all locked up and crusty and gross. Probably is on the inside. So that's a good sign there. Seems like maybe we could just get away with the rebuild kit, or maybe just try to clean this one up real good and see it for testing purposes at least. Popping open the distributor here. It's not awful in there. Obviously this is the point, everything's all worn out and will need replacing or cleaning, but it doesn't look awful in there. And to get the plug wires, or plug, what do you call that? The spark delivery things, I'll call them plug wires. To get them off, they were on there so good. Trying to unscrew the top of the spark plug, it just snapped off. These came out decently well, and I had been putting PB Blaster in there for the last probably month, because I don't know if it's locked up. If it's locked up, I'd like to at least be able to have had that sitting in there and see if we can't get it unstuck. With all the parts that came with the A, I did not have the crank, the manual crank for the front pulley. So the way that we're going to be able to see if this thing is locked up is we got to pull that starter out and see if we can turn the flywheel. Just double check that the car is in neutral real quick. Yeah, it's in neutral. And then let's pull that starter out and get to the moment of truth here. All right, I had to heat this bolt up. It was stuck in there pretty good. Looks like it's coming out. Well, I'm noticing something interesting here. This bolt looks zinc coated. So that's a promising sign that this thing may have ran, or somebody tried to get it running not too terribly long ago. That one is as well. All right, that's on there pretty good. Gonna need a persuader. There we are. Oh, she's ready. That is an interesting design there. Hey, but it moves free. It's pretty cool because I have seen pictures of this. It's just I have never seen it in real life. The spring is up here. That's really cool. Very interesting. All right, I'm gonna pull these spark plugs out just to give us every little bit of help we can to try to get this motor to roll over. All right, moment of truth. It is not stuck. And the front pulley is moving, the fan belt is turning. Well, that is a fantastic sign. Well, when a motor's not stuck, you know it wants to run. That's what I always say. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm stoked on that, guys. That probably just saved, that saved a ton of time. If this thing was stuck, you know, which for 90 years old, I'm surprised. It feels good, and I can hear things moving here and there. I'm gonna put the plugs back in and see if I can feel more resistance, kind of get a general idea of if there's some compression going on in there. All right, got the plugs back in. Oh yeah. We've got some compression. And another nice thing with it not being stuck is, well, there's a lot of nice things, but a big one is if it was stuck and we were wrapping on this thing, trying to get it unstuck, you could break a ring. You could break many things, I suppose. But man, this is awesome. All right, got better light this time. I just realized I didn't have the greatest lighting. Should have known, but here it is moving. Actually, I want to pop off that distributor cap. See, that's still all working. It's rotating ever so slightly. Awesome. Oh, I'm so stoked. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to bench test this starter since it's moving free and I don't hear any, I don't hear any grinding or anything like that. Figure might as well give it a shot. Keep in mind the Model A is a positive ground vehicle. I think Ford was the first to do that. They were having issues with their positive terminal. The gases would build up and they get too much corrosion, causing an issue with connection and draw of the current. So Ford, for the Model A, decided to reverse the flow to cut down, to see if it would cut down on that, and it did, and it helped a lot with the corrosion and stuff like that. So when we connect, I cleaned off some of the rust there and cleaned off this terminal here. It's going to be positive. It's going to look weird. And I figured if I didn't mention it, you'd be screaming at your computer. Positive to ground, negative to the terminal, and then the way these starters work, you push in on this, and hopefully it'll spin. You can test with a 12 volt. I'm using a 12 volt battery, Model A, obviously 6 volt car. Just don't want to run it for a whole heck of a long time. So with that being said, let's test this starter out. Now my guess is that this connection is not going to be any good, but there's only one way to find out. And I will be wearing face shield, just in case anything comes flying off this thing. All right, moment of truth. Yep, not getting anything. It'd help if I did things in order. Got my multimeter out just to check the battery that I was using, the 12 volt battery, and it was dead. So we're gonna use my jump starter thingy, test it that way. You can hear it's making a connection. Oh! It wants to. I don't want to burn it up. Alright. I think it's just a matter of getting in there and cleaning some stuff up. This is awesome. Alrighty, got it apart, and it's dirty in there. This thing looks to be, it looks original to me. I mean, it could have been rebuilt. Who knows how many times, but it is dirty in there. I'm just gonna take and, that's still hot. I realized partway through that, I didn't need to take that off to get this thing. I've never pulled apart a Model A starter before, so this is how we learn. So I'm just gonna take and clean all this stuff up. Alrighty, so it's all cleaned up. Moment of truth. Let's see what it does. Yeah, it's still doing the same thing. So it might be something in here. It could possibly be the connection in here. I'll have to, these are pretty soft flathead screws. So I want to hit those with PB Blaster and at least let that sit before I try. I mean, I'm probably going to end up destroying them anyways. But I want to at least do everything I can not to. Okay, so took this off. And it was dirty in there, and so is this. But I got this cleaned up. Figure, let's give it a shot. Just go direct to it and see what happens. Still pretty much the same thing. So yeah, we either need to do a full rebuild, not just a cleanup, or find us another starter. Because I am thinking that if I wanted to do like a dirt tracker thing with this Model A, then just convert it to 12 volt. Although there's something cool about it being 6 volt. I don't know, if I'm planning on keeping so much of it traditional, might as well keep it 6 volt. We'll figure it out. I'll think about it. We tried, guys. We gave it our best. So it looks like I need a starter rebuild kit, or maybe just buy a new rebuilt old school starter. I like to usually try to end these videos on a big payoff. It would have been great if the starter worked great and I'd put it back in and we could hear the engine turn over. But this is the way it goes sometimes, you know. It's just the way it goes. So for the time being, I'm going to be doing some research trying to find maybe a starter or a rebuild kit and go from there. It'd be nice to find original. I want to try to go as original as I can. Again, maybe you guys have some input that have ever converted 6 volt to 12 volt. That would be good to know. I've never been down that road before. I'd be very interested in hearing about that, but I wouldn't want to just cobble together that thing and then it fail again, like, because that's, I mean, this would be a car we'd have to trailer somewhere to have fun with, and it would, yeah, I at least want a very reliable starter, and then we'll work from there. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. That's going to be it for this one, and I'll see you in the next one.